Okay. If I have a triangle like this, and I'm told that this is x 13 and 23. So once again, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify which trig function to use. It's tangent. Anytime they don't give you hypotenuse, it's always tangent, right? Derek, tell me why it's tangent, though, other than that. What sides do they give you? They give you the two legs or opposite over adjacent, right? So, oh boy.
So we use tangent because that has two legs?
No, so we use tangent because we don't have the hypotenuse. Oh my goodness, something's wrong. Hey, this isn't good. There we go. Okay, so we use tangent because they don't give us the hypotenuse. And tangent, from this angle, we have the side opposite and the side adjacent from this angle. Opposite is across from it, adjacent's next to it. So the way you would write this is tangent of x, because the angle always goes next to it, right? Of 23 over 13. Okay, now look, this is where it's going to get kind of interesting here. We can't solve for x here. So you remember something with me. I told you that this is one number, right? So we can't just say, oh, we'll just divide by x, because that just leaves tangent over here. Tangent isn't a number. Tangent has to have a number next to it. So the way we do this is on our calculators. What we're going to do is we're going to do a thing, and I call it the inverse trig function. So we're going to use the inverse trig function of 23 over 13. Now look on your calculator. Everyone look right above tangent. Pull all your calculators with me, look right above tangent. You guys will see that it says tangent to the negative 1. So go second tangent. Everyone hit second tangent, you're going to get this, what it looks like this. So everyone type this in just like how I did right there. So go second tangent of 23 over 13. What do you get? 60 what? And that would be the measure of that angle. So go second, the tangent button, and you're going to get something that looks like this. And then did you go 23 divided by 13? Okay, hit your mode button. Is degree highlighted? So the third one down, I think you probably have radians highlighted. You got to. Okay, go click over and hit. Make sure degree is highlighted, and then do it again. Okay. Questions on that one? So honestly, the only difference today is anytime you're looking for an angle, you have to do the inverse trig function. So let's do another one. If I have a triangle, and once again, if I'm looking for this one, this is 8 and 9. Which trig function? Raise your hand if you think you got it. Raise your hand high if you think you know which trig function. I'm going to wait until everyone looks at it. Think about it. Brandon, which one? Cosine. Nice. So it's going to be cosine of the angle. So we're going to use the inverse cosine of 8 over 9. Remember, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So what does this one equal? 27.3? Yeah. Make sure everyone gets there.
So why are we using the inverse?
Because this is how we find the angle. We use the inverse when we're finding the angle.
We had the angle yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we had the angle and we were looking for a side. Today we don't have an angle, but we have sides.
So you always do it how like the combination, like when it's adjacent on the hypotenuse, is that how you write it? Like the little
Yep, it's adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay. Cason's ready for another. Here, I want you guys to try this one on your own. Yeah.
He said, I'm not.
That's what I told him. I told him, I said, if I tell your dad you're playing, you're playing.
He's so upset that he's playing. He's like, where's Casey not to play? He doesn't do anything. I was like, name is something.
Should have punched him.
No. I was like, you think I just sit around the house all day and do nothing? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay.
Jason, we're gonna be neighbors. I mean, I won't be your neighbor because all they moved out. So that was really nice of my parents to do that. But
I wake up every morning and open up the blinds. They see your house.
Is it getting built?
Yeah, they're on top of the roof.
Okay. Trey, what's trig function? It is. Okay. So we have sine of x equals 10 over 14. Because we're looking for the angle, we're going to use the inverse sine, which gives us what? Where did what come from? I don't have a 1. That's a 10. Okay, is it 45.6? Okay, so listen. Now, in these angles, one of the really cool things about this is these angles, this is actually something that's used in a lot of building. Because you have to find things called angles of elevation and angles of depression. What that means is anytime you have an angle that goes up, so I'm actually going to draw it over here. If we can have an angle that looks like this is called an angle of elevation. Okay? The other one looks like this. That's called an angle of depression. Now, in the world, you do see a lot of these things, right? How would I use trigonometry? So, if we think about it, we have to use trigonometry. I'm trying to think of an example. So, if you're ever building a ramp, who in here has ever noticed, like, if you ever go to like a big city, most businesses have ramps now built. Would you guys know that in order to be I think it's called HOA compliant, you have to have a certain angle on the ramp, right? So what it means is like if I have a door, so previous people had stairs that went up, right? If you had stairs, you can't have stairs anymore. Does anyone know why?
Because handicapped people.
Yeah, because a person in a wheelchair can't get up. So what they have to do is they have to build a ramp to be able to get up to it. Right? You can have a ramp on the side of the stairs, but you have to have a ramp that a wheelchair can get up. And if you don't, your business can be fined tens of thousands of dollars, $50,000, $60,000, because you don't have it. And then people come and they check the angle of the ramp. If your angle is too steep, you can be fined. If your angle is not steep enough, you can be fined.
How do you not have a steep enough?
Well, so like example, if they think it's too long, they said the guy has to, or the girl has to use too much energy to be able to get up it. If it's too steep, they have to use too much energy to get up it. So there's a certain angle, and I think it's 30 degrees, that it has to be to. Now this is where trigonometry comes into play. Because the things they know. They may know that if this is our ramp, right, that they had to build, they know the distance from the ground to the door. It may be 3 feet, right? But the thing they don't know is the other stuff. So think about it. What do we do know? Well, the code says it has to be 30 degrees, right? So they need to know how to build the ramp. They need to know a way to be able to build the length of the ramp. What did they just use to figure it out? Sine. So they're going to go sine of 30 equals 3 over x, and they're able to figure out the length of what length that ramp has to be. So trigonometry is actually used a lot in real life. This is just one very simple example. This is called an angle of elevation. Has anyone ever seen on the side of a house when you have like a we'll do this one, zip lines, right? Zip lines, in order to make a proper zip line, if you got to get the speed, this is called an angle of depression. So up here, right? Now you may know that the distance from here, from the ground up, is 316 feet, right? And you may know that in order to get, like they did a bunch of research, in order to think, okay, what's the optimal angle to get the best velocity or have the most fun on a zip line? They may think, okay, well, it's 63 degrees. Okay, well, how long does our zip line have to be? Cosine. See that? So these are examples of ways that trigonometry is actually used, and these are very basic ways. Trigonometry is actually used a lot of different types of ways. So when you get farther along, you're going to learn different kinds of trigonometry laws when you get to Math 3. But these are just a couple of very simple ways that you can actually see the trigonometry used. Angles of elevation, angles of depression. We're going to learn about that tomorrow a little bit. But, questions for me? So, today Alex is not working, so I can't get your assignment to you just right now. Well, it'll work. It's just taking forever. Any other questions for me about this? Okay, hopefully you're starting to be more and more confident being able to identify which trig function to use. Hey, is anyone going to go out and look for the spine?
Yeah.
Not today. You never look on the first day.
Go get it. I don't know where it's at. I went out with Mark last night. We hiked almost 9 miles.
Looking
But-
for it?
No.